So I haven't done one of these for a while, a what's on my iPhone type of video, going through how I've customized my iPhone, my apps and stuff, my favorite apps and things like that. I do sound a bit bunged up, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still recovering from a cold, so bear with me. Before we get into this video, please subscribe to my newsletter if you haven't already. I share sort of cool, interesting stories and experiences and also links to interesting things. I send that out once a month. And I've also recently revived my Patreon where I'm sharing sort of exclusive behind the scenes content and also doing giveaways for things like AirPods and iPhones and other sort of cool gadgets and stuff. So make sure to check both of those out. So before we get into what's on my iPhone virtually, let's actually go through what's on my iPhone literally. So yeah, this case I'm using here is the Umber leather case from Apple. It's the official leather case that they do. I've gone with brown this year. I just thought, let's just go. I mean, they're calling it Umber, but it is basically like saddle brown, right? And I really like it. I like it much more than I thought I would. I'm usually going for the black leather, but I thought this year I'd try something different, go for a bit of color. And I really like the shade of this brown leather case that Apple are doing. For long-time viewers of the channel, you will know that I used to actually make a few videos. Well, I have made a few videos on the saddle brown leather case way back, like I think it's iPhone 6, iPhone 7, years ago when I was doing YouTube videos and stuff. Yeah, I've sort of gone back to my roots in a way, you could say. I really like it. I think it looks incredible. I think the only bad thing about this case is the edges. The edges do get marked up quite quickly and easily. They sort of just get sort of black marks. I think you can sort of just clean it off, but obviously that's something to be aware of if you're looking at this case. It does add some nice lip protection around the camera lenses, which is one of the reasons why I like having a case on my phone. But actually, the main reason why I like having a case on my phone is just for the grip. I much prefer the leather, the feel, having that leather grip of a phone. I just find the sort of finish on the iPhone 14 Pro to be very slippery on iPhones in general, to be honest. I don't really want to drop a £1,000 device out of my hand, so I'd rather use a case, and I feel like it's nicer to use as well. Just fits better in the hand. Leather is also softer than aluminium and metal, so yeah, it's really nice to have a case. That is the case I'm using. I would highly recommend it if you guys are interested. I think it's pretty awesome. So let's start with my lock screen setup. So my lock screen setup is very simple. I'm using one of my own wallpapers. If you guys are interested, I've released a few new wallpapers recently. Make sure to check those out. So yeah, at the top we just have the day and the date. We have the clock, and then we have the widget for my car, for my Tesla, so I can see the battery level. This is so useful, being able to see the battery level of my car all the time on my lock screen. Brilliant, like it's such a good widget to have. And then we have the weather for my current location. So the current temperature, the lowest temperature, and the high temperature of the day. I actually have the always on lock screen turned off now. So, when my phone is off, it is off. Mainly because the always on lock screen for me was just a bit too distracting. I just found it a bit too, like when I looked at it, I thought my phone was on. So yeah, I turned it off. I much prefer it off. I think it just looks much nicer. Apparently there is an update coming out soon though, where you can have just a black version of a lock screen, the always on lock screen, and then only have, I think it's the date and the time and maybe a few notifications. So it's a different design to this. It'd be interesting to see what that looks like, because if it is quite a bit different from this, I'm willing to give it a try again, because I do like the idea of having an always on lock screen. It's just the way that they've implemented it right now, I'm not a fan. The two buttons at the bottom as well, I wish you could change those. Apple, please give us the ability to change those buttons. Like the flashlight, I understand, it's useful to have, but I'd much rather. What you talking about, Willis? I'd much rather be able to put my own app there. Same with the camera app. I'm using the default camera app, but I wish I could use maybe like Halide or some other camera app. It would just be really nice to do that. For my home screen, again, I've gone super simple here, even more simple than the lock screen, I'd say, because I've pretty much, well, it doesn't look like an iPhone. Let's be honest, it looks very different. So I've changed all the icons to use my own icon pack. I'll leave a link to those, of course. Same with the wallpapers, one of my own wallpapers. And the way I've designed it is that the wallpaper is obviously black on the top half and then has some color at the bottom. So it sort of fades really nicely so that the icons blend in with the background. And yeah, I just really like this simple setup. It has the apps that I use most frequently. Now, of course, there is one downside of using shortcut apps like this. You do get the notification at the top, but the other downside is you also don't have the notification bubble. And you know what? I prefer that. It's going to sound crazy, but I actually prefer that, because having the notification bubbles and seeing what notification you have at any one time can get quite distracting. Like for me personally, I feel like it can be quite distracting. So I much prefer it like this, and because it's the standard iPhone 14 Pro, I can easily reach all the icons that I need to, even though they're at the top of the screen. I have considered the idea of moving them to the bottom of the screen. I feel like it does sort of make sense, especially if a phone feels a bit too big. If we swipe over, we have my widgets, a few widgets that I have here. I have my calendar app, being able to see what day, what weeks, whatever. I can tap into it, see if I've got anything for the day. Yeah, empty calendar. My calendar is actually, as you can see, there are not many dots. Like I try and keep it quite empty. I'm not a person that likes to be busy every single day and sort of have things in my calendar. Oh my God, that would wind me out. I don't know how some people do it. It just doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for my workflow. I have my sleep as well. I get a good amount of sleep every night. So you can see last night, 8 hours and 40 minutes. I think I'm pretty good at getting sleep. I just seem to have this sort of super ability where I can go into bed, put my phone down, and I'll be asleep within 10, 15 minutes. And I'll sleep through the whole night for a good 7, 8, sometimes 9 hours. And I'll be fresh as a daisy the next morning. So yeah, the sleep widget for me, just nice to see how much sleep I got. And then my to-do app, so you can see this is just a demo, right? So yeah, this is my to-do app. I use TickTick, absolutely awesome app. Really easy to add tasks and tick them off if I need to. And I can also add other people to tasks as well. I can share it with my team if I need to. Awesome app. I usually obviously have a lot more tasks than this, but I didn't want to share them publicly because there's some private stuff on there. So I just have some demo tasks. Get lucky, act like I'm busy, get thick at the gym, and find Jeff's killer. I'm still working on that one. I've been working on that one for quite a while now. And then next screen over, yeah, it's just a mess really, but I actually want it to be like this. This is how I want this screen to look, mainly because, you know, there are some apps that I need to get to quickly or whatever. I'll have them here. And yeah, it's not really meant to be organized. It's just, I've sort of learned where they are through muscle memory. And yeah, that's it for my home screen setup. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Obviously, this is my favorite. These are the two screens I use the most. And then when I do need to search for an app, I'll just swipe down and I'll search. Like I use the search functionality for finding an app all the time, or just for finding anything on my phone. I highly recommend getting used to using the search functionality. It will make your life so much easier, and you can remove a lot of stuff from the home screens as well. So let's now go through some of my favorite apps. Now, I don't actually use my phone as much as you might think, mainly because I'm sitting at a desk all day. I don't actually need to use my phone that much because I have a desk, I have a computer. When I need to browse the web, when I need to do any work, it's all done on my computer. So yeah, my phone is more of sort of like an extension of my computer. And the only times I really use it most is when I'm browsing Instagram, when I'm browsing TikTok, and when I'm at home away from my computer, when I'm sitting in the living room or something like that. But at my desk, my phone is usually just sitting on the charger, not being used. And because of that, I don't actually use as many apps as some people might think. So even though it looks like I have a lot of apps on my phone, I really don't use most of them, I'll be honest. You know, I probably use them once or twice a year when it comes to things like parking apps or sort of getting into something like some sort of service or something. But yeah, most of the time, I really don't use most of these apps. But there are a few that I use, and those are the ones I want to share. So the first one is Lightroom. So I use Lightroom to edit all of my pictures, all of the pictures that I shoot with this phone. But especially with the iPhone 14 Pro, I shoot only in ProRAW pretty much. I actually don't mess around with anything else. I shoot in ProRAW at 48 megapixels to get the best out of the camera, to get the best out of the sensor that's available to me. And the great thing about these ProRAW images is that you can bring them into Lightroom and edit them. So I recently just released a new Lightroom preset pack, and yeah, I use all of my Lightroom presets on all of my pictures. If you guys are interested, I'll leave a link to that, of course. The other great thing about Lightroom, of course, is that it syncs my photos across my phone and my computer, so I can edit on both. So yeah, I have a picture here which I shot on my phone, and yeah, in ProRAW, man, some of the edits you can make is pretty wild. Like these are all shot with my phone. This one especially, I always really like this picture. Now, this is the before, this is the after, and yeah, like I can go through my presets that I have. I can apply any of these presets and sort of mess around with it, get the look that I want. But yeah, Lightroom is my main photo editor of choice, and like I said, I mainly use the default camera app to shoot all of my pictures. When it comes to music, I use Spotify, and surprisingly enough, I actually don't listen to that many podcasts. I mainly just listen to music. I really enjoy music. I have music on pretty much all the time. When I'm not recording like a YouTube video or something, music is usually on in the office or at home. Yeah, I don't really listen to that many podcasts. I listen to My First Million now and again. My favorite type of music is usually R&B, hip hop, rap, alternative R&B, stuff like that. That's the sort of music I like. Yeah, a few playlists that I listen to regularly. just random recommendations and stuff. Yeah, Spotify is my main music app. I don't use Apple Music, mainly because there's one thing I don't like about Apple Music. Well, actually, there's a couple of things, but one of the main things about Apple Music is that there's a gap between each song. It doesn't seamlessly play. I know you can add crossfade, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about there's like a gap between each song. It winds me up. It's such a little thing. And of course, I really like Spotify's Discover Weekly and like the other playlist recommendations and the radio stuff. It's just such a great way to find new music. When it comes to email, I use Spark, so I'm not actually going to show you my Spark inbox because obviously there's private information in there. But yeah, Spark is my main app that I use for email. It's great, works across mobile and desktop, and they've recently updated it to have a sort of new design so you can tick off things and sort of have more of a system when it comes to email. Yeah, it's great. I think it's really good. I think it's much better than the default mail app you get on the iPhone. Next up, we have an app called Thread. So a very common question which I get on this channel and just any content that I make is, where do I get my clothes from? Where do I buy my clothes from? Where do I find sort of outfit ideas and stuff? This is it. Thread is fantastic. It's such a good app. It gives me outfit ideas. It finds me clothes. And in the app, I can enter my size, sort of height and all sorts of other sort of specific preferences, even like budget. So, you know, maybe I don't want to spend £300 or £400 on a top. Maybe I only want to spend like £50, £100, or maybe even £20, you know. It gives me a different sort of budget for each type of clothing, so you can have budget for trousers, for shoes, for tops and stuff. So yeah, it's a really good app to find outfits, and it'll give you sort of outfit inspiration. So if we scroll down, let's find an outfit that I like. I like this outfit. I think this is a pretty stylish outfit, and then it will show me items to replicate that outfit. So it's awesome. It's such a good way to find stylish looking outfits without really having to think about it. If you like the look of something here, you can easily just buy all the items for it and replicate that outfit. When it comes to my own clothes, I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, I definitely go for sort of grey and neutral tones, just because it's so much easier to make outfits, multiple outfits out of those sorts of tones, those sort of colors, and I just prefer it. I think it just looks smarter usually as well. So yeah, Thread is a great app if you're looking for outfit inspiration, looking for clothing, and they do also do women's. So if you're a woman looking for outfit inspiration, looking for clothing, this is a great app to try out. I highly recommend it. So next up we have Blinkist. So Blinkist is an awesome app, one of my recent favorites that I've come across. So it takes books and then condenses them down to give you the key points of a book. So you can enter your interests. You know, I'm interested in business, finance, psychology, things like that. And it will give me books to read in those sorts of topics and stuff. I can get the sort of most important parts out of those books. So for example, we have, let's choose something here. I don't know. Yeah, The Power of Habit. So we can see here 28 minutes. We can listen to it like a podcast. So everything that you see here, you can listen to if you want to. Or you can just read it. I prefer to read, mainly because I'm quite a fast reader, so I can read very quickly. And yeah, it just gives you the sort of key points of a book. A really good way to explore new books without having to read them through properly. Now, obviously, it doesn't replace reading a book properly. You know, there are most likely going to be some things that maybe you find important in a book that they haven't covered. So that's something to take into account. I think a lot of people will be surprised. I don't actually read that much. I'm not an avid reader. I don't read like a book a month or a book a week or whatever. I sort of just read whenever I'm in the mood, really. But this has helped me read quite a bit more, mainly because, you know, I'm not sort of dedicating myself to a book for days or weeks or whatever. So yeah, pretty awesome. Next up, we have a game called Threes. So this is a very old game, and I've mentioned it before in other What's on My iPhone videos, but because I haven't done one in so long, I thought I'd mention it again. I don't want to say I'm addicted. I mean, I am addicted, let's be honest. I play this game when I'm just trying to kill a few minutes, when I'm sort of just a little bit bored and I'm waiting for something, maybe on the train or maybe on the bus, maybe in the car, maybe just in between TV shows when sitting on the sofa. Yeah, this is a very addictive app. If we have a look at my score, the highest score I've gotten is 213,000. So it's pretty high. So the aim of the game is, of course, to stack as many as you can and combine the red and the blue together and then the numbers together. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty quick with it. I've gotten so used to playing this game. I sometimes play it like without even really properly concentrating. Like, it's so easy and so fun to play. And obviously the aim is you try and get the highest score that you can. Yeah, it's so much fun. I think it's a paid game though, which there's nothing wrong with. Like, I think developers should be getting paid for making good stuff. So yeah, if we look at my stats, it's gonna take forever, I think, to add up the total games, but you can see that total game. Can I make it? Can I don't know, it's not gonna let me sort of skip. But yeah, you can see those total games just I don't know how many total games I've played, but I know I've played a lot, mainly because I think I've played this game for like 5 or 6 years. Ever since it came out, pretty much, I've just been playing it. It's the only game I play on my iPhone. I don't actually play any other games. This is the only game I play. So if you're looking for a little sort of time killer, check out Threes. It's pretty fun. And then finally we have TickTick, my main to-do list app that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, the main reason I use this is because, again, it syncs on my phone and my Mac. But the great thing about the Mac app is that it sits in my menu bar and I can add tasks directly from there rather than actually having to open up the app, and yeah, tick things off if I need to as well. And it gives me reminders, notifications, whatever else I need to do. Yeah, TickTick is awesome. I absolutely love it. It's such a great app, and I think it's the best to-do app that I've come across anyway. For me personally, for my workflow, it's the one that makes the most sense. So that's it for this video. But before I actually finish the video, I wanted to show you something pretty cool that I got recently that's sitting behind me. It's pretty big, so I don't even know if it's going to fit in the frame. Oh. What? Oh my god, it's ginormous, isn't it, really? Wow, okay. Yeah, as you can see, it's pretty big. But what it is it's basically, can I move it over a bit more? It's basically an art frame with pins and badges, whatever you want to call them, of Apple products. And it is awesome. Like, it starts all the way up at the Apple One up there. I mean, you can't probably see it because it's blurred out, but Apple One all the way up there, Apple 2, Apple 3, Apple Lisa, Macintosh, and then, you know, you have Studio Display, Mac Studio, iMac, iPod Shuffle 3rd Gen. It's a big thing. I'm not gonna lie, it's huge. You can see, like, it's basically at my upper body. Like, it's really, really big. It's one of the biggest frames I've seen, but it is awesome. Like, it's just so cool. I feel like for holidays and stuff, it makes a pretty good gift. I might put it up on the wall somewhere around the office, probably not behind me, because I actually like to keep this wall clean when I'm doing photo shoots and videos and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll put it up somewhere around the office because this is a piece of art. This is awesome. For anyone interested, I'll of course leave a link to it down in the description. So that's it for this video. Make sure to check out one of my other videos. I did recently make a review on the iPhone 14 Pro. I think one of the best reviews that I've made personally, because I put a lot of work into that video and it's doing quite well. It's got over 200,000 views, so make sure to check that out. I also did an iOS 16 hidden features video, so going through some of my favorite hidden features in iOS 16. Make sure to check out both those videos. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.